welcome to the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast. I'm Nick McDaniel. He's Myron Fancher. How the heck are you, buddy?
I am doing wonderful today. So excited. It's our WrestleMania show, folks. If you've never watched one of our WrestleMania pre-shows, it's like almost as good as the WWE WrestleMania pre-shows. So we got a lot in store for you today. I look forward to doing this. And hopefully you're keeping score at home to see who gets the best predictions.
Yeah, look, we're going to dive right into this in a little bit here. We are going to talk about WrestleMania. It is WrestleMania season. We're going to do a little prediction show, as Myron said. But before we get started, we always want to remind you, if you were a Patreon member, patreon.com/tappedoutpod, you could have got the show early if you're watching over on YouTube. That's right, on Patreon, if you're at the $5 level or higher, you get the weekly shows early. As soon as we get them recorded, bam, I get them uploaded as fast as possible. But look, the Georgia Wrestling Spotlight you can get for free. The show notes you can get at the $1 level. At the $10 level, you can get the Tapped Out Collectibles digital copies of the exclusive Patreon-only digital comic book cover designs that I'm working on for all these guys that you're seeing out on there. But, however, I do want to say they will not be on anybody's merch tables. Those are exclusive just to the Patreon members. At the $10 level and at the $25 level, you're going to get a $25 cover of the same comic, but it'll be autographed, and you'll actually get a legit 8x10 autographed of said wrestler as well. You actually get a physical copy of that print. So that's why you want to be a member at patreon.com/tappedoutpod. Because I had somebody ask me, Myron, what's a good 8x10 at an indie show cost you? $10 or $15. Depend if it's autographed, right?
Oh, God, yeah. If you get a Stars autograph, a local indie upcoming star, $10 is a great deal. Now, if you can get anyone who's ever debuted on any show, they start at $20 these days. Jesus. I think you've got the market right there, man. You're killing it with this merchandising program you've got going on.
So hopefully, you guys can see the value in that. And, we always say if there's something you're looking for on Patreon, tappedoutpod@gmail.com. Let us know what you're looking for. And, of course, if you're one of our YouTube watchers there at tappedoutpod.com, that takes you straight to the YouTube channel. Make sure, as you can see the little graphic there on the screen, subscribe to that channel. Click that little notifications bell so every week when you get the Tapped In show or the Tapped Out show, either one, you'll get that little notification as soon as they're ready. By the way, generally at 10 a.m. on Wednesday and Thursday is when you get them. But again, like if you're a Patreon member, you get those a little bit early. But listen, obviously it's we've veered back from the special episodes that we're kind of doing every week. This is going to be a special one in itself where we're going to do the predictions. But it's not a simple like, hey, who do we think is going to win each match? We're also going to get into, there's been some criticisms, and I think fairly, justifiably so, about the build and the buzz on the road to WrestleMania since the Rumble. Some of the stories have been pretty hot. Some have not. So I wanted to ask you, Myron, what do you think about all the criticisms out there about the inconsistent Mania build over, the weeks leading into it?
Well, I got my pencil out. I hope people at home are listening and doing the same thing because there's going to be a lot of grading going on this show. But to start, every time I get excited about this WrestleMania, then I get bored. It's hot, it's cold. Is it warming up? Is it hot to the touch? Is it stone cold? Some days I don't know what to expect out of this one. It's WrestleMania, though, so I'm excited because I know Paul, I call him Paul, Triple H, is going to have a lot of surprises for us. Don't you think?
He better. Look, I get it. There are a lot of people that are like, So let me ask you this. One of the things that in some conversations that we've had, and I go, maybe we've grown accustomed to, and it should be, I'm not saying it shouldn't be, I'm just asking. We've grown accustomed to WrestleMania kind of being like, this is the end of all the chapters. Like this is where we wrap up a bunch of stuff.
Yes.
What
the
if
end of the year for wrestling fans?
Hold on. My question is, what if that is not the case this year? What if it's not so much about what happens at Mania? What if Mania is setting the table for what the stories look like the next year or the rest of this year going forward? And so it is a change of philosophy, but what if that's what we're looking at of like, no, this is the launching point into the future, not the book ending of like, so last year, Cody winning, right? Like it was the finish the story, finish. Like anybody can say anything they want to. That whole Mania was essentially built around finishing the story. Night one was a tag match, leading night two. So again, it was about finishing a story. What if WrestleMania 41 is Triple H kind of after his first full year, like like going, let's set the table to where we're going more so than what we need to wrap up.
I would say I'm dissatisfied with that. I like it wrapping up the end of the year at WrestleMania as my season. I've tried to explain it to my wife. Everything turned into a season turn. But WrestleMania is the end of the year. I tried to explain last night, Raw was like Christmas Eve for us. And then we will get our end of the year, our Christmas. Everything starts afresh. New Year's Day is the Raw after Mania. If you're trying to get this to be extended, just an extension, it doesn't hold the same amount of pop for me. I don't want it to be a tool to continue storylines. I want storylines to end here and new things to be made.
I'm not necessarily saying continuing. I'm talking about launching the new story.
There are new stories that are going to be launched. Yes, that's always been. But I don't know if this is going to be all launches or.
I don't think
there's
so.
There's some of these launch pads that are kind of shakily built. Okay,
that is true. Opinion. And look, we're going to get into each match. Maybe we'll dive into a little bit about where we potentially think they go after kind of the, like I said, the launching point of what's next for that. But before we do, I know there's a lot of people out there like, hey, they didn't sell out. There's not 60,000 tickets sold. I was like, well, they didn't completely set it up for 60. It's in the 50s. But first of all, what do you make of all the chatter about it's not going to be? Because it's not going to sell out.
$41 gross on these shows. It's not going to sell out. It'll be sold out. They will say, I will guarantee on Saturday and Sunday, they will call it a sellout. They say that on every television show, it's a sellout. And if you went back and did the research, there's probably seats left available. It's a percentage thing with them, and they're going to say it's a sellout. If it's really a sellout, I don't know. But people will buy these last remaining tickets because it's WrestleMania, for Christ's sakes. It's in Las Vegas. It's the spectacle. Okay?
Well, I think it's not going to sell out because it is in Vegas.
Easter might hurt it.
Because look, there's a fan base that, like, as much as we can't, or we don't love to admit it, there's a fan base that was like, hey, I go almost every year, but I cannot get away from Easter. Like, I've got family stuff and I just can't break away.
Last year I looked at the schedule. Last year it was 2 weeks earlier, not just 1 week earlier, 2 weeks earlier. Right. Las Vegas really put their all into this. They wanted it this weekend, like we've said so many times before.
Well, so that's part of it, and I want to get to that because, like, does it matter? Well, they've jacked prices up. It's going to be the highest grossing Mania of all time, no matter what. I don't care if they had 10,000 tickets left over. There's not that many, but I'm saying if they did, I still think it would be the highest grossing Mania of all time. Yeah. Because there's another piece to this that people, got to take into account. Las Vegas paid the largest site fee ever for the WrestleMania. Why? Because they wanted it on Easter. I think there was a piece of, we're going to have to compensate up. Like, Vegas and Easter weekend is not a super busy weekend. That's why they wanted it that weekend. That's where all these things came into play, and they realized it. Look, I'm not getting into the other things because we saw some other things that are not sold out. The events that are running, for that weekend. So, and that you would have just assumed would be, and they're not. They're fine.
I was relieved of my duties for all Easter ceremonies because they knew that if I went over to my not my in-laws, but my sister-in-law's house for an Easter egg hunt or something, I would be like on crack waiting to get back home because I didn't want to miss anything. So they excused me so I wouldn't be such a pain in the ass.
Here's the funny part is I have zero desire to watch any of the pre-show.
Oh, I'm not. I just need to be locked in my cockpit here waiting to go. I need to be in this chair.
It's 7:00.
I like This is
No.
important.
I know. No, I get it. I mean, I'm saying, but like as far as anyway. But as far as like getting home, I'm like, we've got the kids coming over Sunday. I have no worries that they're going to be gone by the time, like, I have to sit down for Mania because I'll, be like, all right, it's time to go.
I don't know, folks. The first few, I met Nick before we started doing this and went over his house for Mania a couple times. This man keys in. So if his kids are there when the Mania comes on, he won't even know because he will be superbly focused.
The funny thing is on the other show, on the Tapped In show, I did tell the story of I need everybody to be quiet for this one match, and somebody made the mistake about not being quiet, and I was like, I'm pretty sure I was clear that I said you could talk to the rest, but this one.
TFU.
Yeah.
Y'all need to be quiet and let me watch this.
Yeah. So anyway, check that out if you didn't over on the Tapped In show because Heath had not been around and did not know all that story. So I told him I filled him in on that story before we recorded. So anyway, well look, man, let's start getting into it. And like I said, we're gonna not just discuss. We're gonna kind of go match by match. I don't know. This is the match order. Who gives a crap if this is the order or whatever? We're gonna go through the list of matches, and we're gonna talk about who's in the match, how the storyline built to this match, and then, of course, we'll pick who we think our winners are going to be. So let's start. Look, let's get some of the stuff out of the way. World Tag Team titles, the War Raiders and the New Day, absolutely one of the worst builds. Like, I don't think anybody remotely cares.
Okay, so they've been working with the New Day really hard, trying to get something over. And then they put them versus the War Raiders, which they're the champs. But if you asked me 2 weeks ago who the tag team champions were for either show, I would have had trouble, and I would have had to think, or I might have had to text you or Google it, because the tag titles are not put in prominence like they used to be. Even only one of them's on WrestleMania. Are two tag titles necessary if we're going to treat them like this?
I was about to say, you messaged me that, and that was the question. Glaring proof that there only needs to be one set of tag team champions.
Whew.
Because you can't even get them both on the Mania card. Now, I understand there's only 13, 14, whatever matches, so I get it. But my point is, then you only need one. Yeah. And by the way, they're on a team that you could. I'm not knocking you for this because a lot of people are this way. When I say you, I don't mean you. You can't even remember who they are.
Yes.
Half the time. And the team that you
or either promotion's tag team champions.
You built the New Day towards this heel turn. Like, it should have been a big deal. And it just really hasn't seemed like the Big E thing just kind of.
I remember who's NXT tag team champions before I would remember who these people are.
Yeah. This
is crap. It was a thrown on there to have a tag team belt on there. These two groups are not even going in the same direction as far as promotion. New Day will win it because they're probably got something in there. There's something in the tank for this that they plan on doing with them.
You think they got to be. I mean, I think this is probably one of the easier ones, and I could be totally wrong, but New Day has to win it to try to bring these belts back to relevancy.
Yes.
I mean, that's the only thing.
How are we going to grade this one?
I mean, if you're giving it a grade, it's a D. I mean, as far as the storyline goes. Yeah. By the way, I don't know that it's the worst. That's what's worst.
No, I hate
that's the worst part. So,
after
let's jump out. Let's go to the U.S. title match: LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu. We thought we were gonna we all thought we just assumed Fatu and Solo, right? Like
Fatu and Solo would be great. Solo's not even on this card after main eventing WrestleMania last year. Not even on this card. He was the tribal chief for the majority of the year. Not even on this card. What? So it was a sure bet they were going to work something out, some kind of family drama, because last year was family drama.
Yeah.
So, and I figured, they used Fatu. They put Braun Strowman to put him over. They got that going. LA Knight was hot as hell, but where did this?
Let me ask you something. This is a sidebar for the LA Knight thing. Is LA Knight proof of a theory that fans just can't be happy long term with anything? He was so hot. Everybody's doing the chant along or whatever. And I'm like, he gets a belt and then, all right, toss him to the side. Give us something new. That's what it kind of feels like at times. It's just weird to me. I don't quite understand it at all. Trust me, that'll come up in it again on another match and another segment
This
later.
is going to be a great match.
I see. I don't think so. I think Fatu's just going to kill him. It'll be like, I think it's just going to push Fatu up the ladder. That's all this is looking for. And if they do that, like LA Knight, like, my bad, dude, your window's closed.
So we both go with Fatu?
Oh, yeah, I think Fatu easily wins this match. I don't even think it's close.
And the prep has scored a...
Oh, the storyline's just, it's dog. Like, this should have been Fatu and Solo. Here's my thing. You use Braun to get him over, but my argument, you want to hear something crazy? I probably would have turned Solo and Fatu earlier and had them beat LA Knight before, and then that match could have been for the U.S. title.
Yeah. Solo
and Fatu or something like that, if you're going that route. Or you could have given us Fatu and Solo, and LA Knight could have had another challenger.
Okay, so the Andre Memorial Battle Royal is on Friday night, right?
On the SmackDown show, I think.
Why? The winner of that needs some kind of pop. They need to stick in some of these matches.
Other than just, you get a trophy.
Yeah.
I get it. No, look, I don't mean to disrespect, because I understand the Andre trophy and, what it means to a lot of guys. But I'm like, yeah, I mean, problem is we already have a briefcase. We already have a Rumble spot. We've already got, how many things can we, if you win Elimination Chamber, you get a match. Like, all right, dude, we're kind of getting overboard, I guess. So anyway, let's keep it moving and go to Jade Cargill versus Naomi. Can I say this with all due respect? Quite arguably the second best, maybe first best feud that they've done in the whole entire Mania season.
Prep is a massive A plus maybe. And the thing is, we haven't even mentioned that the women's triple threat, Bianca Belair is on the card on Sunday. These are her two best friends. Do you think she's not going to have to be somewhat involved in this Saturday? This is heat. With the beatdowns have been amazing. That beatdown at Elimination Chamber, amazing. This is hot. This is a feud. This is why I did one of those things where you get somebody come out and tell you why you did something. I did this because that's good stuff.
I have waffled on my prediction on this match. I can't. Who I have winning, I don't like having as the winner, but I think it has to, if that makes any sense. It's going to go one of two ways. By the way, again, you're right. A+ storytelling. I love the way they've set this feud up. Absolutely. I typed it, so I'm going to leave it be, and then I'm going to tell you why I think either person can win. I have Naomi as my prediction to win. And I only say that to keep the story going. But if Jade wins, the story's over. Right?
Yes, unless something happens with Bianca, if Jade wins, the story's over. I would pick Jade because Jade is just angry and she's mean and she's got to get her.
The only way I say Jade makes sense is if here's a launching point that I'm talking about. If she's about to make her run to become a superstar, like they're going to push her in a singles, then she wins. But if you need this story, is it enough to just that little short run between, here to Mania? If that short run's all you want out of these two, because here's my thing: women all over the roster are struggling for stories. These two women have one.
Yeah.
Can we not screw this one up and let them keep it going and let's see where it goes?
Oh, you've got a good point. You've got a very good point.
At least they've got something to work with. So if that's where you're going, I think Naomi has to win. If you're ready to put a fork in this thing, then Jade wins and moves on, and she starts to become the superstar that everybody believes she can be.
That's my pick.
I get it. I completely understand it. I'm going Naomi because I just think there's more meat on this bone in this story. So,
good point.
Rey Mysterio and El Grande Americano. Here's the thing. Go ahead.
No, you keep telling because I'm just poking and shaking my finger because I like this.
I do too. I'm mad. Like, this has all of, when you look at it from the outside, from a wrestling person's perspective, this could be goofy and stupid.
They kicked Chad Gable out last night. Grande Americano rushed back in with his loaded mask and the 5-head. It doesn't just reek of shit we saw as kids. This stinks of what we saw as kids. This is gimmick. This could be one of the better matches on the whole show.
Oh, 100%. 1,000%.
We're going to see how adaptable Chad Gable is. We're going to see what Ray has left. This is probably going to be the best skill set match so far we've talked about. Yeah, easily. The best skill set match we've talked about.
Yeah, when you talk about moves like in-ring work and all that, absolutely, without a doubt, this has the opportunity to be the best match both nights. Now, I'm not getting into like emotion and story and the people that are invested. None of that. Just in the ring and working. These two absolutely can probably tear the house out, which is crazy because the whole thing is built around silliness. Yeah, and it's just like, hey, they seem to be super committed to it. They're going to run this thing, and and I'm like, okay, cool. Look, my prediction, and you're probably in the same boat, I guess. I'm thinking Mysterio.
Nope.
You're going Grande?
No, Grande Americano. Ray has achieved everything. Okay? Ray is Ray Mysterio. Grande Americano, this storyline needs to continue and somehow, unless they're going to just do a massive unmasking type bit. But this Chad Gable storylines have stall. This is it.
Story number 2. How we launching point something. What if Mysterio wins, they unmask him, and it's not Gable? They got somebody, it's somebody else.
You've just complicated. You've ruined my entire show from now on. I have nothing. My plans are all run amok now.
Come on, think about that. As many times as the Midnight Rider or the Yellow Dog or
somebody's going to roll under the ring. Somebody else is going to roll out from under the ring, get unmasked.
They unmask, and it's not them. You just got to find somebody who's built like him to put that mask and that costume on to pull that off. And here's the thing: it works better if they don't look exactly like them.
Yeah.
It's enough that people go, "That's not him. That's not him." And
you got to look for that tattoo on the back of Gable's neck.
Or they do the unmasking, and he's got another mask on it, like a real luchador sometimes does. He's got the dual back. Anyway, I just think Mysterio. There's a lot of fun to be had, out of that story. But that's just me.
How did you grade this, Professor?
Listen, I gave it a B. It's not the absolute best, but it's been super entertaining along the ride.
I want to see it.
Yeah,
I want to see it.
Yeah.
Here we go to the Taboo promo special.
So Tiffany Stratton for the WWE Women's Title, defending it against Charlotte Flair, of course. So we've had a bumpy road, right? By the way, I think the beatdown in the parking lot completely proves that everybody got worked.
Yep. And the fact they talked about it so much on Raw last night, if they're going to talk about it and draw attention to it, that means it's a work. If it was a shoot, they'd have cut that shit off right there. Okay? So, did Raw help you last night? You got a phenomenal Tiffany Stratton match versus Roxanne Perez. And then Charlotte comes out.
Yeah, I was about to say, the matches don't get me ready, but the post stuff does.
Yeah, the beat down she got and draw. Charlotte's seeming evil. You've got this evil Charlotte, and you've got this brand new baby face, Tiffany, who wasn't a baby face, who used to work with Nia Jax, and then she turned in the briefcase, and she became a baby face, and Charlotte was a face when she came back, but nobody likes her.
So here's how I think. So I'll throw the grade out here because I want to say what I want to say. I'm giving this one a C because I feel like if they have worked people, they deserve some credit for that. The reason they don't get a A or a B is simple. Neither one of these wrestlers are cast correctly.
No.
Honestly, I just think the pairing is wrong.
Yes.
Yes. They're both heels.
What if they flipped? What if they flipped and Bianca picked so what if Charlotte picked Bianca to face?
You mean Io?
Io at the time, yes. Charlotte picked Io instead of picking Tiffany.
And then Rhea's mixed into it as well, because if you put her in there, then you got the three of them. Charlotte's the nasty heel. Rhea has a legitimate gripe, and Io, you see what I mean? And then Io's argument, and then Bianca's the one going after. Because think about that match, Bianca and Tiffany Stratton, the athleticism in that match.
Yeah.
And it's clear to find you leave Tiffany Stratton a nasty heel who everybody can hate.
I know betraying her partner.
Yeah.
Who has been off TV since basically before Europe. I don't know where Nia Jax is.
And by the way, if we're continuing the whole Bianca, Jade, Naomi can cost Bianca the match or something.
Mm-hmm.
Inadvertently, Jade and them get that. And that. Anyway, lots of stories there. At the end of the day, by the way, I think Charlotte is your champion. I think Charlotte walks out the new champion.
Yes.
She's just going to keep running down those numbers.
I agree. Her name is Flair. Tiffany Stratton has an unlimited future potential for her.
Correct. Yeah, she's got plenty of time to, keep racking up, but I just think time will tell. The match that some people argue, like, why is your title match not in the main event? Good question, and I agree with that philosophy most of the time. But the World Heavyweight Championship match, Gunther, the champion, versus Jey Uso. Last night helped tremendously. I will tell you this, by the way. These notes were done prior to Raw.
Yes.
I worked on them during the day. It doesn't matter for the people that are Patreon members that see the notes. My opinion will change slightly, not much. I feel like number 2 situation going into this is reminiscent of the LA Knight thing. LA, look, Jey Uso was smoking hot, and is, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Let me sidebar off here, because Triple H came out this week and said, basically, the internet people that complain, it's not real life.
I love that. Yes. I loved that.
Nick Khan's very similar statement when he did an interview. He basically said, we don't react. Our booking doesn't react to the things we see on the internet. Here's why, folks. Jey Uso, he missed his window. We're so sick of him. We're over him, blah, blah, blah. I don't know, but as Triple H pointed out, he's got 10, 15,000 people in there.
I don't know. I've never seen it in person, but on TV it looks really good. And he's selling a lot of merchandise. And they have one of the best heels in WWE in recent history, in my opinion. Gunther is the best. And my grade on this one totally differs for you. It's a B+ for me. Okay. The blood and all that other stuff, B+. I'm not scared of you anymore promo. Last night promo.
I will tell you this. So I had a C on here. I will agree that post Raw, I will change variable notes as I'm doing it while we're reading. I'll give it a B. I had it as a C. Last night helped tremendously, in my opinion. Gunther flipped the switch and went even a little more diabolical. Because for the longest struggle that I had with him, people were cheering him. People like him.
Yes.
And he had to go a little bit out of his way to make people not. And I think he did do that a little bit. So that's kind of why I would say, yes, I would go C to B. But Jay's promo looked really heartfelt and emotional last night. So it did kick it up a notch. So I think they have helped a little bit along the way. But
I really have to agree with your prediction and go with Jay. This is something I'm not gonna argue with you at all. This is Jay's time. This is Gunther. Hey, Gunther lost last year at WrestleMania 2 for the Intercontinental Championship.
How crazy.
So he doesn't have a good WrestleMania thing going on. So
yeah, I just think, look, Gunther's going to be fine. Gunther will have many title runs under him, I think, at some point. That will, of course, bring us to the Saturday night main event, no pun intended. CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns. It It's a triple threat for absolutely no stakes whatsoever. It's just three dudes that hate each other's guts, apparently.
Cerebral. So cerebral. Paul Heyman, all these years, how many storylines has he advanced without working a single match? Okay? Paul Heyman is the tool that, regardless of if your storyline's not working, throw some Paul in there. Paul will get it over. Last night, Raw, amazing. I really, really, really like what they got going on this. Seth has killed it. Seth, I'm doing this for the business. That I'm doing it for business last night. Part-timers, somebody who'll quit, bad for the business. I'm what's right for the business. Ugh.
And how about, I think, to me, one of the pivotal promos was the week prior to that, him explaining to Seth Rollins, explaining to Paul Heyman why neither one of those other two, CM Punk nor Roman Reigns, care about him.
Yeah.
They both walked away from him. They both left him high and dry. They use him when they need him, blah, blah, blah. And my argument to that was, here's the problem. Seth's not wrong.
Nope. I did you a favor. You owe me a favor now.
And then what is that? Yeah,
What's
hands
that
down, a lot of people will make the case this probably has the best story. This is the Jade, Naomi, and this triple threat. Why? It ain't about titles and whatever. It's it's solely personal and all the emotions or whatever tangled up into it. And here's the other part. I think we got back the Roman Reigns we really like out of the story.
Oh yeah.
We got asshole Roman back. Yeah, the tribal chief back.
Yes. The guy we need. The guy that's had the longest, all that huge title reign.
So let me ask you this one. Go ahead.
No, because you're going to ask me the question, and I'm working on my answer.
So the question is then, the launching point going forward. I'm not going to give a prediction yet. But what if coming out of this, we do quasi go back? What if Roman realizes the best version of Roman Reigns is with the bloodline? And he sucks back either Solo or the other members, the Guerrillas of Destiny, or Joker Fatu, or whatever. He starts bringing the band back together. Now, Jimmy and Jay are gone. I think they have effectively separated. Well, Jimmy maybe not. Jay has effectively separated him. He's main event Jey Uso now. The other parties involved, since the split, have floundered. The best move might be to put them all back with Roman again. And how do you do that?
You got me there. I didn't think about that. I was going to say weak Roman with no Paul, because I am going to wager Paul Heyman winds up in Seth Rollins' corner after this match.
Correct. CM Punk doesn't need him.
Nope.
Roman, I don't think, needs him anymore. And look, by the way, this is a shared opinion of somebody who's on a radio station. I'm not getting into that. But I agreed with Seth Rollins is essentially where Roman Reigns was pre-Paul Heyman joining him as the tribal chief. Seth Rollins needs Paul Heyman to take him from, because look, Seth, hear me out. Let me ask you this. I think they want Seth Rollins to be a main event guy like a CM Punk, a Roman Reigns, a Cody Rhodes. He's just not.
Well, he's a
1B. He's not a 1A.
Yes. All he's been is a song and fancy outfits. And he's not produced like that in a while. Whoa. I don't even know.
What if Paul Heyman, because I'm with you, I'm ready to end the ramble off every nickname he has, the visionary, the revolutionary, blah, blah, all that crap. And then he becomes, he gets Paul Heyman at the end of this match. By the way, obviously you're telling, we think Seth Rollins is your winner by something of Paul Heyman saying, I'm not. How about this? He chooses Seth Rollins because those two are asking me to turn and be disloyal to somebody. Yeah. He's not. He's saying, just join me and help me.
And a Rollins Punk feud going forward that's the feud that makes Rollins. It makes him gold. That's the feud. With Roman. Roman doesn't need that.
Yeah. So that's our pick, Seth Rollins, and I think there is a future there to come out of there. And again, absolute A storyline grade on that one. I think they've done a really good job. So now let's jump to, we're going to go to Sunday, and we are going to go with the women's tag titles, Liv and Raquel versus Lyra, Valkyrie, and Bayley.
Yes, they've came up with a name for Lyra, Valkyrie, and Bayley. The coexistence. They're just two people put together.
Yeah.
They had a match against each other, then they worked together real well. I'm going to get my Cult of Cornette membership revoked for continuing to quote Vince Russo. But they can't get Lyra over with that gimmick. I'm beginning to wonder if they can get her over at all. Where is this going? She's going to have to heel turn on Bayley or something.
Which could be the case.
Something.
But can I tell you this?
What?
I'm not giving this much time because honestly, it's the absolute worst build of the entire show.
I agree. Yes.
I didn't even honestly when Liv and Raquel got the belts, I was like, wait, why? At the time when they won them, I was like, okay, sure. That's how much time we're giving this. By the way, storyline grade F.
This is Bayley and Liv weren't on the card. Yeah. How are we going to get Bayley and Liv on the card? That's my opinion on this.
And by the way, those other two make no sense as champions, so obviously our prediction is Liv and Raquel. It's got to be.
Retain. It's got to be retained.
Yeah.
That's all it can be.
One absolute barn burner of a match that we think potentially could be is the Fatal 4-Way for the Intercontinental title, Braun Breaker, Penta, Dominic Mysterio, and Finn Balor. Here's the thing. Arguably got the opportunity to be the second match that I could sit here and go like, dude, this could be an absolute show stealer of a match.
Yeah.
Depends on how these guys work together. Here's the problem. 4 people, there's going to be problems. Just my opinion.
There's going to be problems in coordination.
Yep.
You've got 2 people that do lucha-ish. You've got Braun Breaker who just does Braun Breaker.
Hulk smash. Yeah.
Hulk smash. You've got the Finn Balor who's so great. But here's the thing that I've been thinking about with this match. You've got 2 people that aren't accounted for. Ray Fury and Carlito. If you think Carlito's not going to be involved in this match after all the buildup he's been stuck in.
Look, I promise you that Ray Fury he really, really appreciates you hoping that he was on the card. And I'm sure you met Ray Phoenix. But Ray Fury is our buddy, our mask buddy.
Hey, he's another wonderful wrestler. I'd love to see him on the card. But Ray Phoenix, this is when he makes his big pop. He's going to come out sometime in this match in front of all the people that are going to be watching. This is his big exposure. This is it for him. He's going to stop Carlito in some capacity.
Let me ask you, hold on. I want to hit a pause button. I'm going to challenge you on that one. My stance is they keep Penta and Ray Phoenix as far away from possible as each other. If I'm WWE, I have Phoenix on SmackDown and Penta on Raw. Keep them completely apart. Do you know why?
I'm listening.
Because when they were in AEW, they were Penta and Ray Phoenix. They were the Lucha Brothers. That's called one IP property. If you have Penta over here selling merch, you have Ray Phoenix over selling merch, that is 2 IP properties that you're making money off of.
I forget sometimes this is a business that does not include just wrestling business.
Yeah. Now, because look, we all understand, Myron, one day we're going to put them together and we're going to make money.
Yeah.
But how about before we do that, we maximize and make every dollar that we can on these 2 individuals. And then when we see their sales kind of petering off, we go, whoop. Now there's Lucha Brothers t-shirts.
Yep. Well, I mean, you got a lot going on in this match, too. You got the whole Judgment Day heat happening. I think that's going to be a pop in the middle of this. But more if we've talked about it, I've changed my prediction, Nick. I've changed my prediction to Penta. He's got the smoke right now.
Could be.
I think he's too popular right now. And a really angry Breaker. Like Penta won't pin Breaker. Penta will pin somebody like
Dominic
and win. Yeah. And then Breaker will lose his title and come on a suicidal rampage trying to stop it. Or homicidal rampage.
Yeah. I pick Breaker just because I think it's still too soon to take it off of him. But I 100% could say I could see it being Penta, and I wouldn't lose any sleep over it. AJ Styles versus Logan Paul, the absolute show stealer of the weekend potentially, that nobody gives two shits about.
How can you not give two shits? And this is the truth, you said, but how can people not give two shits about AJ Styles versus Logan Paul? One, they've spent half their build with AJ Styles and Karrion Kross.
Yeah.
And, shout out to the gear manufacturer. But he's doing this weird psychological buildup to this match. He's doing this, let me save you. You don't need to be wrestling these part-timers type thing. And then I'm just not gonna, I'm not on the card, but you can face Logan Paul, who has not been there. That's the problem with the Logan Paul build. He's not been there for this build. He needed to be there. These are two people that are phenomenally talented, and Logan Paul's just not been there.
They just, like I said, this match is going to be off the charts good, and everybody's going to talk about how good the match was probably, because AJ's going to make sure that he gives that to Logan Paul. Does that make any sense?
This is going to be a disqualification due to the interference of Karrion Kross.
Oh, no.
Nobody's going to win.
Logan Paul's going to beat him.
By disqualification at best.
Oh, I think he outright pins him. I think Karrion Kross cheats, and Logan Paul wins. Logan Paul needs a win, and AJ Styles is a heck of a guy to get one from.
How long do they keep Kross on the roster if they keep having to drag him out and get him to storylines?
They absolutely love what he's been doing on social media. That dude he figured it out. It ain't just about what you do on TV and in the ring. He's created a value of himself outside the ring.
That's brilliant then.
So he's finally figured it out from a perspective and like, hey, make yourself valuable like the Miz. By the way,
on this show.
Yeah, first one I think in 17 years.
Yeah,
that he hasn't been on. Anyway, don't get me started. By the way, 20-year active career. He's about to move into one of the all-time runs of full-time active careers on the roster. Consistently, not leaving, not doing anything. Anyway,
we need R-Truth to show up and think he is his tag team partner again, though.
Yeah. Let's jump to the Sin City Street Fight. Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre. Look, you kind of have to.
This is your hot cold match. It was great when he cashed in right after McIntyre won the belt. What he had like a 5-second reign, or 5-minute reign, whatever it was. This is why you have a reason to be mad. Okay? Mm-hmm. You have a reason to be mad. And McIntyre has been this killer. This guy who has had these massive feuds that have been great over the years. It's really given Priest his time to shine in this storyline role. But McIntyre gets his revenge. Do we continue to burn this? Whatever happens. Is this a feud too good to waste right now? Or do we draw it out longer? What do you think?
I think this is the payoff. And here's the crazy thing is, McIntyre's due to finally get the better of somebody.
Yeah.
He's had the last year overall, he's been taking losses in the end. He's been getting the short change. And I'm hoping, here's, again, a 1-year arc of him winning, getting cashed in on and beaten. The next year has been a really bumpy, rocky road. I'm hoping 41 is a win against Priest, who we love, by the way. We're a big fan of. He'll bounce back and be fine against something else. But this is the launch point for McIntyre. Like, he takes off and he goes on a run and a tear over the next year or plus going forward. So that's my take on it. Storyline. Yeah. I'm giving it a B just because they've kind of held it for that long for the.
Well, you had a reason. You gave them a reason to hate the guy.
Yeah.
A long-term reason.
Very much long-term. And the backstory is always good when they can do a callback. I like that. Women's world title, Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, and Bianca Belair. Is that your take on that shit?
Hey, we were going to get a great match after a phenomenal Elimination Chamber win. We were going to get a great match. And they stuck Rhea in there. Now, it's going to be a great match, but they could have used Rhea somewhere else.
Here's the problem, though. Could they? Look at the rest of the card and ask her, what would you have done with her if you took her out of this match? I'd give you an answer. You want to hear the answer? I was waiting for this all show.
Okay.
How about she inserts herself into the Tiffany Stratton Charlotte Flair match? I don't know how you get there. I'm not saying it's easy. Here's why. Now they can be heels, both of them, and you've got the baby face. You've got the third wheel baby face. Can Rhea Ripley overcome both heels and become the WWE Women's Champion?
This is going to be another one of those matches where it's ambiguous. Is Bianca a babyface?
Bianca's easily the babyface. Here's the problem. There's kind of 3 baby faces here.
Yeah. So it's like, what do I have to get excited about except a rivalry because somebody didn't get a rematch right?
Yeah.
Before the thing, this is not chemistry.
Do you remember you brought up the point of what if Charlotte had been here and Bianca had been against Stratton? Then you have heel baby face, and you can take, or if you don't want to do that, you leave the 2 heels over there and you take Rhea out of this match and put her into the Charlotte. I get Rhea's argument was I didn't get my whatever, and that's how she gets it. So then I come back to Charlotte bypasses her and challenges Io, and you want to put Rhea in there, then it's Charlotte, Rhea as and then Io, because then it's 2 baby faces heel, but you've got Tiffany Stratton and Bianca as the other combo pair that you paired up for then. I understand that's a lot of moving parts or whatever, but I just think it's way better than what we've got in both scenarios.
It's better to have moving parts than just one part, shove it together and call it a show.
Yeah.
So I think that's what happened here.
So obviously I think storyline wise, we both are not a big fan of this. We both give it a D.
With 3 of the best women's talent of all time.
Hey, we didn't say the match. You had already said the match is going to be good.
Match is going to be real good.
Storyline wasn't good. That's a different story.
Bianca Belair will win this. And yeah. I hate the fact that, folks, this is.
Can I ask you a question? Did you even realize she's undefeated at WrestleMania?
I did not.
Okay. I didn't either until I saw it in the notes. I was like, what?
This is kind of one of these things like, I like good wrestling matches, but I don't watch wrestling just for good wrestling matches.
Right.
I like to see something makes me want to pay attention. I want to see some Kevin Sullivan. I want to see some evil heels. I want to see something that draws me in to make me feel. No, it doesn't have it. Now, this next match, does it have it? I think it does.
I understand. Cody Rhodes versus John Cena for the WWE Championship. I do like Cena as a heel.
Yes.
I'm going to start with the bad and we'll come to the good to end it because I'd rather end it on a good note. I had this debate with somebody and I asked, why is The Rock even involved?
Where has The Rock been?
No explanation, no story. Like, when people talk about plot holes, I'm like, dude, this is some Swiss cheese plot hole type stuff. When I'm like, why even do the Rock thing? I've got no answers. And I'm like, be patient and wait. We have waited since the Elimination Chamber. It is it has been weeks and weeks. Yes. The answer John Cena gave, we're happy about John Cena being a heel because John Cena is a heel. I don't think the reasoning makes a whole lot of sense in general.
The John Cena heel turn was the only thing I've seen more of than the announcement Triple H was going in the Hall of Fame on every show. And The Rock was in that. And you had this feeling, and then The Rock's gone. It's, I'm getting to the point. I feel like Seth Rollins. I'm tired of these part-timers. Is it bad for business, Nick?
I asked myself the question, is The Rock involved in this because Dwayne Johnson wanted to be a part of the main story even though he knew he wasn't going to be there?
Like last year?
Yeah.
He wanted to be in the main story last year because he's so powerful. Just I'll put myself into the storyline somehow.
Yeah. I asked the question, we were talking, I was talking to somebody, and I asked this question. I said, why couldn't John Cena's reason for turning heel have been this simple? I'm so sick of you guys leaving, coming back, and thinking you're the face of the company. And for 20 plus years, I carried this flag for this company, and these people, it made me sick to my stomach that the second you came back, they were all Cody, but you had to leave and go work for somebody else before they even cared about you. Yeah. I toughed it out. I stayed here. And they turned their back on me time and time and time again.
That's a good application for WWE creative, Nick. I'm telling you. That right there is the better storyline. You don't need The Rock. I mean, now, if Cena's only showed up when it was convenient. If Cena's not there on Friday night, it's going to hurt.
I think he's there on Friday.
He's supposed to be there on Monday night too, which is foreboding for me.
Yeah.
But
I think Cody's going to be there too, by the way.
If The Rock is not there Friday night, it's really going to make a bigger hole in this plot hole.
I think the payoff for The Rock we don't get until Mania, which is, don't get me started. But I'm like, it better deliver is all I'm going to say. It better deliver because up to this point, I can't see that nobody has given me a reason. A lot of people are like, oh, well, trust in Paul or Triple H. I'm like, hey, I've trusted for 6 weeks and I ain't seen shit to prove me wrong about this Rock thing.
We're so excited. Everyone was so excited about the Cena heel promo and turn, but we've only seen it in replays. We've got no more. I mean, we've had 2 good promos since it happened. We've got no more. Just this is why you got Cody coming out and trying to.
God bless him. Cody's trying to carry the whole the whole feud on his back because he's the guy that's there every week, and I understand that. I look, it's not his fault that Cena's filming a movie and Rock is all over the world doing whatever stuff. But look, so I love that Cena's a heel. I love that they're giving Cody the opportunity to be the face of the company. The absolute problem that I have with it is the Rock plot hole. Listen, I will tell you, come Monday, if something happens and it all makes sense and everything's justified, there's nothing wrong with people. I wish more people could do this. Come back in hindsight and go, hey, I was wrong. They set us up. They set the perfect tape. We just didn't see it. But you're right. As of right now, I don't see it. I'm like, that's the issue.
Good match.
It'll
be a good match. These two couldn't have a bad match. Grade C for the whole storyline.
Yeah, storyline.
And it might have, that would be because there's work not turned in. Okay, this storyline got a C because some homework wasn't turned in.
Correct. They're going to try to send it in after the fact and get the little the late credit and everything or whatever. I think I don't know. I'm gonna let you go first. What's your prediction?
Cena.
Okay.
It's for the storyline that lasts until his retirement. I really think Cena's retirement storyline is bigger than his WrestleMania storyline.
So here's why I think this matters. And I know we're probably going to run a few minutes over on this. I made a prediction just kind of off air talking to somebody else. And I said, here's what I think is going to happen. SummerSlam is Cena versus Rock. Rock's going to help him. They're going to have a little bit of a run where they work together. And then at some point, there's going to be some friction, and it's going to be like, I'm not your puppet, dude. I'm the 17-time world champion. And that's the switch where we get babyface John Cena back to finish out the back half of the year. Because he's got to be a babyface when he retires.
Yeah.
And guess what?
I like that.
That's why Rock wants to be a part of the story. So it makes sense for me to go, I want a match at SummerSlam.
Makes sense.
Anyway. By the way, absolutely think whatever happens in this match, I think it's going to be the biggest lightning rod of the weekend.
Yeah,
I think
it's the one
people are going to.
waiting on.
It's John Cena's Mr. Polarizing Wrestler. People are going to crap all over it no matter which way this match goes, no matter what this ending goes. I guarantee you it'll be just crapped all over on social media, and I haven't even seen it yet. So that's our prediction. John Cena, we think, will win number 17. I did want to ask you this. I did see Ric Flair on Busted Open. He is saying he is not going to be there in any fashion, no matter what, even if he were to win. Because technically he still works for Tony at AEW. He still has a contract with him, so he cannot be there to present if John wins the 17, etc.
Oh, shit. But the big thing is the match that's not on the card. The match was going to be interesting. Randy Orton, Kevin Owens.
Yeah, let's go over that real quick. I released some of the betting odds over on the Patreon page. For the $5 level members. Nick Aldis is the odds-on favorite that they are going to give him a match. We've heard Aleister Black, we've heard Rusev, we've heard a bunch of people.
Why not the winner of the Andre Battle Royal? Why not he get the match?
Let me tell you why. Because Nick Aldis deserves it. I'm not a big you deserve it guy, but he has been a trooper.
He's done a phenomenal job.
Look at the shape he's in. Randy's took a couple shots at him as of late.
Yeah.
He was like, if you don't get your act together, I'm not going to apologize to Mickie James for what I do to you. I'm kind of like, okay, I like where this is going. So the more we've leaned in it, look, if it doesn't happen, I get it, I understand. But give us what we want. Like, give us Nick Aldis. Look, he's obviously, you could look at him in that suit and go, dude's still jacked. He's still in great shape. Oh,
yeah. I'm a huge Nick Aldis fan. I've always been a Nick Aldis fan since I saw him on NWA. My question is, who of the people not on the card might show up? Solo? Sammy? How does Sammy not have a match after defeating Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship last time?
He's injured.
He's injured.
Yeah.
Nothing for him, though.
So, I mean...
Jimmy Uso? What's Jimmy going to be doing?
He's injured. Gunther put him out.
Storyline?
Yeah.
Nia Jax. I love me some Nia Jax.
Listen,
she'll be out to interfere with something.
Maybe. I'm hoping he gets all this. I just hope that's just my take, but it is what it is. Look, kind of to recap up, I think some of the best storylines that we like. We like the Naomi versus Jade Cargill, the triple threat, and look, Priest and McIntyre. I think overall have probably done the best stories. The biggest misses. The tag match makes no sense. The IC title's been kind of weak in general. And then of course Rhea being tossed in there like random, whatever. And then you brought it up earlier in the show. We think the match of the weekend that could be the wild card could be Rey Mysterio and El Grande Americano. Who would have thought like that could easily go down? You could throw AJ and Logan Paul in there. There's a couple that you could, but I think those across the board have the shot to be the best wrestling matches.
I'm stuck on what has happened to the tag team championships. I mean, it makes last year's double tag team ladder match with all these other tag teams seem a lot more valid than what's happening this year.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I think it's a glaring statement. We touched on it a little bit earlier. Even as bloated as this card can feel at times, right? Like there's 2 nights. We do 2 nights of WrestleMania now. And yet there's multiple women's titles that you have that are not on the show. There's a tag team title that's not on the show. I mean, it's like, dude, like, what are we doing? Like, that means you have too many belts.
Green not on the show is an injustice. After the year she's had, after the performances she's turned in, having her not on the card is an injustice.
Do you think she's a pre-show or she has a match on SmackDown or something like that?
They'll do something with her, but she needs to be on the show. She has earned. She is the one that's really earned this.
No, I'm not going to argue at all with that. I completely agree that I think it's crazy that she's not on there, especially when we could probably go through this card and go like taking match after match off and going like, yeah, we don't like this, we don't like this.
Yeah.
I just think like Yeah, I'm not real sure. I hope the philosophy is we're trying to launch a lot of things out of this for the next year. That's our hope, but we will know.
Question real quick for you. Is it better to replace Randy's opponent or Randy's match? Put another match in its place on the card, or just get him a new opponent with no storyline?
If you give me all this, I'll take that. If you're telling me it's Rusev or Aleister Black or insert anybody else, I say replace the match. At least all this makes sense because they've done some storyline aligned with that. So that's what I'm saying. If it ain't all this, give me somebody else. Put Chelsea Green against somebody on there or whatever. Even if it's a 4-way for the women U.S. title or something, I don't care. Give me a match with her involved. But that's where I would go with it. But whatever.
The NXT show on Saturday before the show is going to be great. We're going to have a ton of wrestling to watch on television. If you look, there's some TNA stuff. There's wrestling all weekend. Get on IWTV, Google it, look up. You'll be able to find tons of wrestling performances to watch over the course of the weekend. Don't burn yourself out because you got
Pace
two big
yourself.
nights.
Pace yourself. And look, a lot of those stuff, look at the PLEs, the reviews and everything, of course, they will be on the Patreon page, patreon.com/tappedoutpod. We have bumped those. They are now on the $1 level. You get the Raw, the SmackDowns, the Dynamites, the Collisions, the TNAs, PLEs, pay-per-view reviews, all that kind of stuff right there at the $1 level at patreon.com, as long as with the show notes as well for all the shows. $5 level gets you the shows early. Get early access to the weekly shows. $10 to anything we ever do, you get access to. And, of course, the digital collectibles there on the $10 and $25 levels as well. Look, if you're a YouTube watcher, we always tell you we appreciate you watching there. Look at the graphic right there on the screen, what it's doing. Make sure you're doing that. Click the subscribe button. Bing, click that little notification bell there so every time we do drop an episode, you get it. Look, we are pretty regular as far as get the time that we drop
I wish
them.
I was as regular as this show.
Yeah, I mean, that's the plan. We try to be, but every now and then, card subject to change, and we have to record and move some stuff around. But for the most part, we're always going to be on 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern time every Wednesday and Thursday with the Tapped In and the Tapped Out shows. But look, it's WrestleMania weekend, light on the indie scene for the most part. Friday's pretty heavy. I'll probably do a show maybe on Friday, probably on Monday. Weekend's out, folks. We're going to be at home watching Mania for sure. But that's everything I've got for this week, man. You got anything else?
No. I wanted to say I saw some of the coolest things ever this weekend. Got to see a really cool Rush tribute band Saturday night. Their name is Spirit of Rush. If you ever get to see them, they're really cool, especially if you're a Rush fan. And then on Friday night, we got introduced to the Finished Dominion. I wish we'd have got to get those there for Scrappy. They're doing so much wonderful things at the Royston Dome. And then we got to see that phenomenal match between Da Silva and Slim J Friday night. Probably the best match I saw on that whole card.
Check it out. We in-depth conversation about both of those topics over on the Tapped In show and the Georgia Wrestling Spotlight on Patreon and on YouTube. So
things together.
So absolutely. There was a lot of stuff about both of those. So anything else, man?
Man, I'm good. I'm so excited. I just can't hide it. I'm about to lose control, and I think I like it.
Well, what's the old saying, brother? If I've got nothing and you've got nothing, what time is it?
It's time to tap out.